Hello, welcome folks to this special session on creative AI at Scratch. We are so excited to share with you some of our work in progress. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Eric Rosenbaum, Director of Scratch Lab.
And I am Tiff Gagnon, the Director of Product Design.
And I'm Andy Forrest, a Senior Creative Technologist.
Oops, here we go. Today we're going to we're just going to get through some things. We're going to start off with our values, how Scratch approaches AI. We're going to do a new feature announcement and then talk about our creative learning assistant and end with a live demo. But before we get into that, we just want to share this amazing quote from our founder, Mitch Resnick. It is more important than ever for children to develop the most human of their abilities, to think creatively, engage empathetically, and work collaboratively, so that they can deal with the challenges of a complex, fast-changing world.
And this quote really guides our work on AI. And if you've read some of our blog posts online, we've been talking about this and how we want that work to shape our work on AI. And so here's our 4 guiding stars that we're really aiming for with this work. The first is creativity. Scratch has always been about empowering kids' self-expression, and that has to remain true and strong. And to do that, we need to leave the power and choice in kids' hands. And that's why agency is our next important guiding star. And of course, Scratch has a mission to keep things free and accessible to kids around the world. And that when we add in AI, there's also that additional layer of how to make that fair and inclusive and accessible from an AI standpoint as well. And how do we use that to connect people, which brings us to community, which is emphasizing that human connection and collaboration above all, not just replacing those things with things that could be done with AI instead. Those are our guiding stars.
And while we fulfill this amazing creative vision with AI, we're going to keep in mind, of course, the responsibility that comes with it. As you know, there are some challenges. And so these are our lines in the sand. We'll make sure any AI we put into Scratch is safe with no harmful content, that it's ethical, we'll protect everyone's data, that it's transparent, we'll tell you about what we're doing and how it works, and that it's human-centered. It's never about replacing people's creativity or agency, or especially relationships between people, such as teaching and mentoring or collaborating. It's human-centered AI. I'll mention too that anything that we do will be opt-in as well.
This is also a youth-centered approach. So we know kids have very strong feelings about AI, and we are listening deeply to them and bringing them along our journey through playtesting. We want to address their concerns and design tools that really center their agency. So after talking with a lot of kids, their top concerns are AI slop. They are generally underwhelmed with things that are getting tagged into the products that they already use. Environmental impact. They have a world that they're going to take over, and they want to make sure that it is here. Loss of jobs for family and maybe themselves, replacement of human creativity. And there's a general concern about a potential robot takeover. But though kids express hesitancy, most believe that these well-designed AI tools can support them in creating what they imagine.
So before we dive into the live demo of the brand new thing, we wanted to announce something that's coming sooner than that. Face sensing is coming soon. So you may be familiar, and let's go to the next slide, with the face sensing extension blocks that we put up on the Scratch Lab site a few years ago. We're finally bringing those to everyone, to the full community. So if you haven't seen it, face sensing lets you use AI to make animated costumes and games that interact with your face. You can see here the little program, Forever Go to Nose, lets that kid stick a star sprite to her face and move it around. You can make all kinds of really fun interactive things, like you can see in the picture there, face filters like hat and glasses that stick to your face, or games you play by moving around, even accessibility projects. Face sensing is safe and private. It all runs on your own computer. And so we're so excited to share it with you. And for the moment when, unlike on Scratch Lab, people can share their projects with each other that they make with the face sensing blocks. So it's coming out this fall. Until then, you can still try it out on our Scratch Lab site at lab.scratch.mit.edu.
So now we're going to talk about our creative learning assistant. So Scratch is not just a coding platform, it is a creative learning platform. So our AI assistant will not just be a coding assistant. We want this tool to support youth throughout their entire creative learning journey, which is why we are constantly referring back to the creative learning spiral, and how we can help kids think through the imagine steps: create, play, share, and reflect.
And as I mentioned, we're going to share our work in progress. It's a prototype, it's evolving, and so there's lots of different ideas. And we were really inspired by this sketch that Mitch Resnick made in a recent blog post. He took some of our work and remixed it in a slightly different way. I just like how this tells the story. So you can imagine this is the Scratch editor with that little window in the middle where you have an assistant you can type questions to. So say you're making this project, you've got a butterfly sprite and a monkey sprite, and we're looking at the code for the monkey. But then suppose you wanted to make a conversation. So you typed in this question: how can I coordinate the conversation between the monkey and the butterfly? And in that case, the AI assistant might say something like, have you tried the broadcast block? And it shows a picture of it. It doesn't insert it into your code for you, but it's just giving you a tip, the way a person might who's helping a kid learn. So we're inspired by those creative learning facilitation practices, but not trying to replace the person as the teacher, but trying to make an assistant that helps you in a similar way. And then it also offers an example, a link to a project that might inspire you. So again, not giving you the answer to your question directly or doing it for you, but giving you help that can help you learn on your own through tinkering. That's part of the inspiration. So I'll hand it off to Andy.
And here's the UI, the user interface of our prototype, just to point out a few things before we get into the live demo, because this kind of paradigm is popping up a lot now. So we're not sure how we want people to interact with the AI, but one thing that is becoming more and more common is a conversational based interface. And we have to figure out what the right interface is for our users, especially because our users are very young. And we have to see what kind of way of interacting with them is appropriate. So I wanted to just make that really clear that this is a prototype and we're figuring that out. But a way to have a conversation as an interface into an AI system that's helping you is turning out to be very powerful. And you see this kind of pattern in a lot of tools that's popping up, and some tools that are aimed at youth. So we do have, though, still there's the code editor, there's the project itself, there's the sprites, there's all the different things that are important to the Scratch experience. That's front and center. We're still talking about a Scratch project here, but we're talking about different ways to get help on that through AI. So this is one way to do that. So before we dive too deep into this, I wanted to just tell a little story and say, before we say why we made this interface, I just want to say, why make a car? Why make anything? Let's pick a car. So we go to the next slide here. This is my daughter, Taya, and she's very creative. And she likes to express herself with technology and do different things. Here's with a 3D printed Minecraft sword that she made when she was younger. And so on the next slide, you see that she came to me and she said, I want to make a car. She's 10 years old. And I said, yes, let's figure that out. And so I love this picture because that's her grandfather in the background who came to help. He had some knowledge of construction and things. You can see that the agency is with her. She is explaining to her grandfather what she wants and how she wants to create this car. And on the next slide, you'll see the end results. She made it with her friends. If this had been my car that was making this soapbox racer, I might have made it super fast and just for me. This is what she wanted. This is what she wanted to express. She wanted a team project with her friends. You can see there's comfortable seats on there. There's a flag for decorations. Taya wanted to be second. She didn't even want to be the driver. She wanted to take turns. And it did. And the wheels, the steering mechanism, I could see that there were some guardrails needed here. That rope coiled there. The brakes were not adequate. The steering was not adequate. But I let them do it, and then I, as the adult, figured out what was safe and what guardrails were needed to make this experience safe for them, while still letting them have the agency to express themselves. And so the next slide, you see the end result. This is what we want for all our kids. This is now her as an adult, as a textile artist, and she just won an award for this incredible costume and prop design that she did just last week. So I could be more proud, but it just shows you this is what we're trying to accomplish for the kids of the world, is to just let them express themselves with these tools. And the great quote by Tiff, she says that what we're trying to build here is like a digital makerspace. We're trying to provide the tools and the resources so kids can do these incredible things. So that's the prelude. So now let's get to demo. So this is a live demo, and this is real AI hooked up to real project. So I'm going to pretend in this demo to be a young user. So I'm fairly new to Scratch, but I don't want to be a complete beginner here. I'm fairly new to Scratch, but I've made a few projects. So what kind of projects? So this one that I've kind of half done here, this is actually a remix of one of the starter projects. You might recognize it as the food truck project, but I didn't want to make a food truck. I wanted something different. I wanted to make a game, but I really like this scrolling road here. I added some backdrops. I make them automatically switch. Just did some fun things that were there. And now I'm ready to take it further to something else. Scratch is a huge, huge resource of incredible assets. There's all kinds of projects for remixing, right? So I want to have a look at all that great stuff. So I want a character to use in my game. Just give me a list of projects to look at. Let's see. So this is now submitting to the AI in the back end, and it's sending as well as that of the whole context about my project, what I'm working on. It knows all the sprites, it knows all the code stacks, all the stuff that's in there. And I'm going to tell you, there's a little bit of fakery here in the demo. It's almost all real, but I'll tell you at the end what's faked, so that you were very clear about what's going on here. So this is the results from the AI. Cool, fantastic! What a fantastic idea! A great character can make a game feel so alive. To help me find the perfect inspiration, what kind of game are you imagining? Is it an adventure, a puzzle, or something totally new? In the meantime, here's some projects with interesting characters that might spark some ideas. You can see how they're built or even remix. So you can see it's just following my instructions, giving me the agency, but it's encouraging me to share my creativity. So I can look at these and I can click on them too. I can go over here into that project and my conversation comes with me, which is fantastic. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm not sure. Okay, well, let's see. Why don't I just ask it? Tell me about these sprites, because I'm looking for a sprite for my project to remix. So now that's sending that to the AI to think about it. I can look at it myself, of course, too. And Scratch is so accessible, looking through all of the different code. I can look at this. Oh yeah, great. It has some different costumes in there for different situations. That's pretty cool. And then here's the description from the Creative Learning Assistant. Awesome. Great choice. This project is a really fun example of how different sprites can work together to create an adventure game. Oh, okay, adventure game. Each sprite has its own special job to do. There's a list of them. Venture Cat. This is your hero. It's so cool how it follows your mouse and has different outfits for swimming, playing baseball, and exploring a desert. Oh, perfect. That sounds pretty great. Yeah, I think I'd like to use that in my project. Okay, great. I'll just go back to my project. I'll just click the back button here. I can leave that site. Go back. Creative Learning Assistant follows me along. And I have oh, look at that. I've got an add to project button. I'll press that. And now it takes that sprite from that other project and puts it in here. Super cool. So let's see how it works. Click that. Yay, awesome. It's in my project. But hold on. It said it has different outfits for swimming, playing baseball, and exploring a desert. But that's not using them. I see some code in here for switching stuff, but it's not working. Well, let's see what I can do about that. I added, oops, I'm going to save my project here too. Always save. I'd added Adventure Cat. But, oops, not Kate. but the costumes aren't switching. Yeah, it's weird because it says when the backdrop switches, switch these to this other costume, and it's not happening. I wonder why that is. I've done some Scratch projects. I know what these blocks are, and I can recognize them, but I don't understand how they're coming together in my project here. Need some help. I feel stuck. Hopefully the creative learning assistant has some help to give me. Oh, great. Okay, so what does it say? It's a great observation. It's a classic case of sprites and stages needing to speak the same language. Your venture cat is ready for action, but it's waiting for a very specific signal from the backdrop. Okay, yeah, but I understood that part. Right now, your cat's code is set up to listen to backdrops named desert, underwater, and baseball. However, your stage has backdrops with different names like canyon and underwater too. Oh yeah, because I just added them myself differently from that one. Aha, what do you think would happen if we rename the stage's backdrops to match? That's a good idea. But actually, now that I know the problem, I know how to fix this. I can click on this here, make this a little smaller so you can see my code better. And then there's my actual backdrop names. Cool, that's one solution. That would work, but I want this solution. So I'll switch to underwater 2. That's my backdrop name. And I don't have a baseball backdrop, but I do have a blue sky backdrop. Change to that one. And then the third one for the desert outfit, I have a canyon. Perfect. That's better. Let me see if that works now. Ah, awesome. That looks super cool. Oh, wait. Now something else is happening. It's going all glitchy. Okay. This is another common problem when I'm remixing stuff. It works at first. And also, I'll save that there too. So it works at first, but then the costume gets glitchy. Glitchy. I don't know how to describe it. Glitchy. Is that a technical term? Glitchy? Feels technical to me. Feels descriptive. I think this is actually kind of one of the points trying to make about conversational interfaces. They're loose. You don't have to have the technical language in there. It can be conversational. It can understand your kind of intent and your meaning. So ideally, and this is how kids are going to speak if you've ever helped kids with projects. So great. There we go. And now, super sharp observation. You've found a classic case. What happens? Sprite gets too many instructions at once. And so I'm going to, I'll speed up a little bit so we have time for other things. But it's trying to run all the costume change animations at the same time, which is why it looks glitchy. When a new backdrop appears, a new animation script starts, but the old one never stops. After a few changes, you have multiple loops all fighting to set the same costume. Of course. So I get that now because this hat block here, it triggers this stuff, but it says forever. Forever means forever. It keeps going. So even when this one triggers, this starts going at the same time. And this is the kind of subtle interaction between scripts that can be really a blocker for kids. They just need that little hint to get past it. And here's a simple change. When you go there, just stop the other scripts. So once that is pointed out to me, then I can do that. I can just put that in and I can fix it myself because I understand what's going on here and I can do it. Great. Yay. Working. That's better. Yeah, that's what I want. Excellent. So then just one last thing to show you here is just it works. Thanks. And now what's next, right? Now I don't even know. I want some creative inspiration, but without being prescriptive. So just give me some ideas and a sprite list for things to jump over. Let's see what it can do about that. Oh, I did forget to save it there, but it should be okay. It when you save it, then it has the whole context of the saved version, but it should be all right. Yeah, awesome. glad that worked. Turning it into a game where it jumps is a great idea. Since you have a food truck, so there you could see that it still thinks I've remixed the food truck project. So this is another thing. AI is not always accurate. And so interacting with AI frequently pops up things like this that are hallucinations or assumptions or weird things. This is one of the spots where we have our work cut out for us to really make sure that we make it as accurate as possible. And then also the world is grappling with this too. So how do we surface this, and what's our responsibility as designers of these systems to make sure they're accurate, but also educate the users of them to know that in general, AI isn't something to just blindly rely on. We want our users to learn as they go that they are the critical thinkers and they need to evaluate the things that are happening. So yeah, I'll leave this part of the demo there, but before I leave this section, I want to tell you what little bit we kind of faked. Actually, nothing was faked. The only thing in here that it isn't as good as it could be is search. And all those of you that are familiar with the search, the state of search as it is right now, there's 200 million shared projects on the Scratch platform. And finding the gold nuggets in that huge treasure trove can be very challenging. So that's one of the biggest parts of our work, is how to actually index all of that work and just make it more searchable for the community so that you can find those really great things and dig deep into it too, so that we're looking at searching into sprites inside of projects too, but always surfacing who made it and why and who they are, because this is human content that we want to surface and make connections as you're figuring out just that right bit to use in your project. So for this demo, it has an internal, very small list of projects and sprites that it can draw on. And as we're working on like making that part expansive and full for the rest of the community. And then one other thing that I think couple of minutes left to show too is like, so this is it's a beginner user. What about more advanced users and more things for them as well? So I'll just show you quickly that the comprehension is incredible that we can get with AI by actually sending all of the images, all the audio. So this is one of the projects on the Explore page right now, and it's Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. It can transcribe, translate, and explain everything so that you can understand these stories that are being told in this incredible way, but in languages that you might not understand. So this is all generated by the system. And then you can also use it to do things like dig into complex stuff. Like here's another one from the current Explore page. The animation created by this user of just a wonderful, fantastic thing. As even an advanced Scratch user, I have no idea how this works. It works. And so it can explain this stuff. It can pull it apart into sprites, explain their concepts, and then you can have a conversation with it to see how does it assemble these things, step by step, positioning, explaining these block stacks that can be just intimidating to kind of understand where all this cool stuff comes from. So really excited to see how this can help advanced users to understand each other's work and to learn and to do it. So yeah, so that's the demo part of it. So yeah, thanks for watching that.
Wow, thanks, Andy. There's obviously we've got a lot of experiments in progress. Just to set expectations, this is not coming out anytime soon. We have a lot of work to reach those guiding stars while holding to our lines in the sand as we shared. But obviously there's some really exciting possibilities we're exploring. So please do check out, we've shared a link to the blog post about the Creative Learning Assistant. At the bottom of it, there's a link to share your feedback. So we really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.